Section 5 in segmentation, shorter information in the chapter doesn't mean it's any less important, because you really need to understand in revenue management how to segment your markets to give yourself better information and understand really how to price and position yourself relative to types of folks. And, in the hotel business, some of you that are in this course may be in that business. This is just a snapshot of a couple of examples here. So on a Wednesday at your property, you could have all of these different types of markets staying at your property at the same time. So, traditional segments, we look at, types. And again, for the purposes of this discussion, because it's brief and these are chapter highlights, this is just a generic way to say how we can look at some of these things, right? So, compare and contrast the two. And does that mean that this is the case all the time? No, but it gives you a kind of a baseline to look and see, make some generalizations about groups. And, can they overlap? Of course. But we start to understand pricing strategies, marketing strategies, advertising strategies, basically, as we start to look at a group, a segment. And we can go back and forth on that and, purpose of the stay. And, it sounds really not harsh, but like, oh, okay, well, then all they are to you is this. It's not what we're saying, but we need to understand, like, on a given day, percentages of our rooms, what are classified as, leisure, what are classified as corporate, so that we know and we understand, and maybe we start to figure out through all this process of SWOT and looking at all these things, we really seem to be doing well with this segment. And we could be doing a lot better with this segment, right? And then how do we figure out a way to appeal to segments where we may feel like we're a little short? So again, similar attributes, understood, needs recognized, and where they gain value from. Because there are periods, for example, corporate, where someone says, once a year we have a retreat and we invite the top 100 salespeople to get away, celebrate their accomplishments. We don't care how much a hotel room costs. We want this, and this. Okay, as opposed to we're a family of 6. We are on a very tight budget, and we get to take one vacation a year. And when we do, we need A, B, C, D, and E, but we don't want to pay more than this. So you understand two opposite ends of the spectrum as far as market segments are concerned. As I said, it's possible that they could overlap in your property. So we have to kind of look at that and understand value, perception of value, which we've talked about. Seems like every time, but that shows you how important it is, right? Net profitability for each segment, sales and marketing efforts attracting the right business at the right time. Okay, a full room is great. We love it. A full room, a full hotel. But when can we start to fill business when we don't have it? How can we target a group to maybe come in and have their meeting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday instead of Friday, Saturday, Sunday? You know what I mean? So kind of looking at those things and figuring out the nuances. So increase guest retention levels. Expectation delivery. value proposition. So, as a guest, I think that when I stay at your property, this is going to happen. Okay. As an operator, the way that I make sure that that experience for you happens is I do this. And then you go, okay, for the money that I spent, this was 100% exactly what I thought it was going to be. You're driving across the country. And all you want to do is pass out, because you're going to have to get up and drive the next day all day, and you're exhausted, and you just want a bed that's close to the highway. Okay? That's your expectation. And I have a hotel that's right off the highway. I have clean beds. I maybe have a little, nice little complimentary breakfast in the morning, which isn't much, but it's something, and it's easy access on and off the highway. That is going to probably be a win-win, because it satisfied that need that you had. Now, as far as repeat business goes, that's a little bit more difficult, because you're probably never going to see those people again. But that may be, how do we advertise to get everyone that's stopping here for that experience? How do we become the number one choice for them in this area, off this highway, in this town, whatever it's going to be? So, targeted pricing, segments respond to pricing in a different way. As I said, hey, money's no object, or we're on this really tight budget, and then we want to make sure that we don't, dilute something or have people just go crazy and buy it up. So, again, I'm sitting here talking. I'm not talking in circles. I'm telling you a bunch of different scenarios, because this is what revenue management is. Constant predictions, looking at markets, deciding the right prices, how people are going to respond to those prices. Hey, you want to come to New York for the weekend from, Boca Raton, then here's the package from our property for you to come. We're right near Central Park, etc., etc., etc. If you segment correctly, you look at growing desired market segments. Again, talked about the expectations, operational, and then perception of value, and then secondary segments of distress periods, and move away from unprofitable or hard to reach segments. If I cannot, just like I said, it's like the old saying I always say, the one that I've always said is, don't get over your skis. If I can't be that for you, or I've tried everything and I'm just not appealing to that market segment, then stop trying. You're wasting time, money, and resources. Here's what I know we do really well. And here's who I know we do appeal to. That's who we want. So keep that in mind. Because, again, just as I said, you forecast wrong, you price wrong, then dead in the water. So it is, again, it's really, really honing in, nuanced, with a bunch of different tools, figuring out exactly who the market segments are. Because all these other things right here that we're talking about, to be honest, it's going to be you'd be looking for another job, most likely, or a campaign that fails. So we always want to go back and evaluate everything. Our attempts to reach this market were successful. However, their perception of value wasn't what we thought it was going to be. So that experience was a failure based on we found the right people, brought the right people in, but those individuals in that segment have a different perception of what we are than we do. Okay, so that's obviously can be a huge issue, and in the perfect world, everybody's on the same page.